Coming up on Network Africa, African leaders share messages of support with the UK after a bombing in Manchester leaves at least 22 people dead. South Sudanese rebels led by former Vice President Riek Machar reject the national dialogue announced by President Salva Kiir on Monday. And a Somali student successfully challenges culture and poverty to enroll at the university. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. A number of African leaders have been sharing condolence messages in solidarity with the United Kingdom after the suicide bombing at a concert in Manchester left 22 people dead and many more injured. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta says in a statement that, quote, Kenya knows what it's like to suffer tragedy such as this, so our hearts go out to the UK. He also says that he has spoken to the British Prime Minister Theresa May to offer Kenya's support. The head of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki, also expressed his condolence, saying Africa stands with the people and government of the UK in reaffirming our solidarity with them during this difficult time. Also expressing his condolence is the Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed, who says, quote, our thoughts and prayers are with all the victims of the Manchester attack. The UK has stood by us and we are ready to stand by our friends. Finally, Nigeria's Foreign Minister Geoffrey Onyema also tweeted his message to the UK, saying heartfelt condolences to the people of Manchester over your loss. Our thoughts are with you.
Police combed the area around the Manchester Arena in northern England in the early hours of Tuesday morning. This comes hours after a suicide bomber detonated an improvised explosive device at an Ariana Grande concert. At least 22 people have been confirmed dead and around 60 injured after the blast occurred as the gig came to an end. Police say it was a suicide attack carried out by a single bomber and that children are among the dead.
We are working closely with National Counter-Terrorism Policing Network and UK intelligence partners. This is clearly a very concerning time for everyone.
According to US officials, the attack bears the hallmark of Islamic State. It's the deadliest attack of its kind in the UK since 52 people were killed by suicide bombers in London in 2005.
We stand in absolute solidarity with the people of the United Kingdom. So many young, beautiful, innocent people living and enjoying their lives murdered by evil losers in life. I won't call them monsters because they would like that term. They would think that's a great name. I will call them from now on losers because that's what they are. They're losers. And we'll have more of them. But they're losers. Just remember that.
Meanwhile, American singer Ariana Grande tweeted that she's broken over the tragedy. Fans who were at the concert have also been speaking about their experience.
I was like, we need to run. So we started running. We ran straight out the doors, all the way down to the hotel. And all I could hear was screaming, people crying. Everyone was just running everywhere. It was completely madness.
Britain is on its second highest alert level of severe, meaning authorities believe a militant attack is highly likely. Countries around the world, from the US to Singapore, are now considering tightening security at major spots and theatre events following the blast.
Terrible indeed. Now let's get more on this story from a counter-terrorism expert, David Otto, who joins us live from Uganda. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
African leaders have been tweeting messages of support to the United Kingdom in the aftermath of this horrific attack. What lessons should Nigeria and the rest of Africa learn from this tragedy?
I think one of the, this is a very horrible attack. Most importantly, I think one of the lessons that, each and every country has to learn, is that counterterrorism itself as a strategy is not sustainable. I think, the United Kingdom has one of the best counterterrorism personnel, the best counterterrorism tactics, but I think, there has to be an enormous focus on anti-terrorism strategies. We have to be able to prevent such attacks from taking place in the first place. Because what is happening now is, we are relying a lot more on luck. And terrorist organizations just have to be lucky once, while their victims have to be lucky all the time. So I think this is one of the areas which a lot of countries have to learn, including Nigeria, because, we've had recent attacks, in Nigeria at the University of Maiduguri entrance, 3 attacks in a spate. So what we have to understand is terrorist organizations, will take advantage of the counterterrorism strategy, which is actually based on luck, and they have all the time. We just have the clock.
Right. You just spoke about examples of attacks in Nigeria at the University of Maiduguri in Borno State in the northeast of the country. How can the government react to this kind of situation to better protect its citizens, talking about Nigeria now?
I think one of the things which the UK has done, effectively, it has failed, when we look at this kind of attacks, is they've designed what you call the contest, which deals with prevention, it deals with protection, it deals with preparation, and then it deals, with the element of pursue, which is the counterterrorism strategy. So I think what each and every government has to have, including Nigeria, including countries like Niger, Chad, Cameroon, Libya, Somalia, Kenya, what we have to do is they have to have a national counterterrorism strategy that is based on these 4 strands. And all these 4 strands of how to prevent events from happening, how to protect people from being attacked, and then how to prepare yourself in an event that this kind of attacks happen. These are some of the areas which they have to learn lessons from what is happening in the UK. We can see that preventing the attack has failed in the United Kingdom, but they have reacted very well in terms of their preparation for this kind of attacks. So I think this is the kind of strategy which Nigeria has to learn, which most of the African countries have to be able to adopt. We have to adopt those strands effectively and coordinate them between each and every security architecture, so that you don't just rely on the police, you don't just rely on the army, you also have to rely on the communities which are highly affected by this kind of events.
Right, this attack obviously targeted young people, teenagers, children died in this attack, just like Boko Haram does and ISIS does as well. What's the reason behind soft targets? What do these militants aim to achieve with this?
One thing we have to understand is, each terrorist organization carries out an attack based on the environment. If you actually look at this particular attack, which has happened in Manchester, the timing couldn't have been worse. Britain is going through the turmoils of the Brexit. They're going through an election period when each and everyone has been distracted, and then they launch an attack in an avenue that houses more than 18,000 people, and, including children, including women. This element of surprise, is what terrorist organizations have decided to look into. What they've done is they are awakening their sleeper cells, to be able to attack unsuspecting individuals and unsuspecting locations. So they really know that, by attacking such locations, it draws the maximum amount of, not just the media, which is happening now, it draws fear amongst the population. The young people, get screaming, the securities will react. And once they react, the kind of actions that will be carried out would be kind of an advantage to the terrorist organization. So I think what we're facing today is a very, very disorganized set of counterterrorism. But the first job that I think security organizations and governments have to do is to reorganize terrorist organizations back. How they're going to do that, we can help with that. But it's important that, terrorist organizations become really organized.
Right, thank you so much for your thoughts on this. Counterterrorism expert David Otto speaking there.